Okay, welcome back. Um, More of a Zeb modeler video today, I guess. Just working on this lower portion of the body. Starting at the head, work my way down to the vest, and now I'm on this belt portion. Um, and just the same as before, really, just extracting from a mask and then creating a really low poly mesh, just so that I can easily manipulate it into the shape I want. And it's really easy to polish it too, when it's low poly like this. So this is what you see me doing, like switching matte caps just so that I can see if there's any bumps or anything on the mesh that I need to smooth out. And this is the part really that I spend a lot of time on, is just polishing it and making it sure it's nice and smooth before I add thickness. Because once I've put poly loops on there, it's got to be perfect pretty much. Because I don't want to polish, after that, because I might start altering the thickness in parts of the mesh. I don't want that. So this is what I found is the best thing for me to do, is to build it up in pieces like this, low poly meshes, and then crease them and subdivide. But as far as the process goes, it's the same as all the other pieces. Smoothing out the mesh, giving it thickness, subdividing it, and then adding details on the top. I've gone to that metallic matte cap now, just so I can check that it's all nice and smooth. I don't want to add too many design elements to this. Oh, you can see me creasing the edges there, just so they stay nice and sharp when I subdivide. Yeah, I don't want to go crazy with details again on this piece, because I like the simplicity of it when I did the sketch. So I want to try and keep that. And I do change it a little bit, but I think I keep the essence there. I'm just checking what it's looking like with the entire model. You can see up there, I don't know if you can see it on the video, but at this point I'm approaching 100 million polys. And I think I've been pretty sensible, to be honest, with the meshes that I've made so far, because I don't think in most cases I've gone above 6 million. And obviously once the thing is finally in its final pose, then I might go up a subdivision level on some of the pieces, just because I'm going to be sculpting a lot more detail. But at the moment, it's pretty snappy still. So, and I think when all the parts are done, it's posed, probably looking maybe at 200, 250 million polygons. And what it's going to be like at that point, I don't know, to navigate around with. But so far, so good. Or with these parts, these hanging straps, I found it much easier to work with, like a flat mesh first, and then I'll use a deformer to move it, before I start adding details. So I just do all the extrusions, really basic stuff. This is pretty much all I use the Z modeler for. It's just extruding, creasing, moving some edge loops around, and creating polygroups. And that's good enough for me. I think I actually make them a touch longer as well, than in the sketch, but trying to keep it, things more or less the same. And I know that, these design elements make no sense really, with the rest of the outfit, but I like the aesthetics of it. like straps, things hanging. I just and they don't always have to have functional reasoning. So like I said before, fashion or clothing, things like that sometimes can get pretty crazy. So I don't want to be limited at this point, So oh, you can see here, I'm still not 100% sure how to scale parts of a mesh, and I tried to do it there, and I started to scale the inner part, which I didn't want. So the way at which I did it there was I increased the anchor points, so I used the last one to anchor from, and then scaled it from there. I don't know if that's the best way to do it, but that's the way I sort of solved that problem there. And here I am with the deformer just moving things around, just roughly keeping this shape. This will probably be altered again when I get the model into the final pose. And I'll probably pose the bottom half um, fairly early on, I think, because I don't really see the legs changing much. Um, I want to kind of widen the stance a bit, but and I think that's also a good time to put the folds in, into the clothing, is when the legs have been posed. And I will tweak it, a tiny bit, say like a foot move rotation or something like that. But um, I want to get that locked in pretty soon. And then once I've done all the props, things like that, I'll transpose model it, pose it. But I want to get the model as close to the pose in this stage, so that when I do finally transpose it, it's not too crazy. And then I can sculpt the folds in the pants and things like that, beforehand. And then when I pose it, it's not gonna take a huge amount of work to work on the folds and things. And that's another thing too. I was thinking of, my current way of working was working top to bottom, but I may have to change that because the pants, if I'm going to work on those next, only kind of really makes sense with the way that the material is going to interact with this belt part, as in like the folds and things like that. So when I get down to the boots, I will have already done the folds, and I'd have to sort of like manipulate them a bit more. So I think what I'll do is after the belt, I'll do the boots, and then go back to the pants, and then finalize them more, because I'll be able to just plan the folds and and things like that better around the boot and the belt. So I just think that that will sort of be a better approach. I mean, I don't know at this point. I'm just trying to figure out what's the best workflow. So this is pretty much the first 3D sort of character that I've done. Um, so I'm still finding my way, and with ZBrush too. I'm going to use this inner part of this extrusion here just to create the almost like a pushing catch, that will quick release the straps from the belt. So just a real simple, piece of geometry. It doesn't have to be crazy because it's going to be so small on the model anyway. So I'm not too careful with this piece. I probably could have done it a bit cleaner, but the top part's going to be hidden, um, and I think what I finish with is good enough. I don't know why it's the simple, or it seems like the simplest thing seems to scare me the most. You know, like these, I just wasn't sure how to do these straps, and really it's a simple thing. You know, it's just a cube that's been stretched and flattened, but I still get a little bit kind of nervous using the Zeb modeler. I just, it's not comfortable for me. So I just need to use it more, get more practice with it. So I mean, I think that's good enough. Even if I'm looking at it sort of at this distance, it doesn't look too bad. But we're going to be quite far away in the render. A little bit of mirror and weld. Still working in symmetry at this time. These further down the straps, these extruded in parts, I was just going to leave them like that, and that's where kind of some more logos and things like that were going to be. But I'm thinking at the moment of having some more padded areas in there. That's what I'm masking out now, and I think that will kind of harmonize these with the rest of the design. Yeah, because I do have some softer material parts on the model. So at the moment, they're gonna stay. I don't know. To see, like I said, when the thing's posed, if I'm still feeling it. No creasing or anything with these because they've got to be spongy. Just really roughly fitting it in there. I think it'll look pretty good. Once it's all detailed. Oh, you can see here, like I'm putting these creases in. These aren't like like final uh, details. They're just notes for me, just to remind me of what I was thinking at that time. Like if this was a two-dimensional, illustration on Photoshop or something, usually I'll have a layer where I've made notes for myself, simply because I got a lot going on and I can't always remember, my ideas at that time. And in 3D, I just tend to sketch them in on the rough sketch, and then I'll sort of refine them later on. And like I said, on this top part, I didn't want to go too crazy because I do like the simplicity of it, and the whole model I'm trying to keep as basic as I can. I don't want loads of busy details on it. That adjust last stroke is I really like that. I really like that option. I've used that quite a bit. All the cut lines and things like that I've used on the model so far have been quite subtle. So I want to make sure to carry that through. Sometimes it takes me a couple of times to hit that line, get the point of symmetry matching up. I'm just messing around at this point, just trying different things, see what they look like. But I know, especially on the back, I'm going to have sort of a lot of space for decals and logos, so I don't want to cover that area. These are the Chaos Masons alphas, really nice alphas. So I'm using these for speed. I'm not using many, just a couple, just so that I can get some repeating elements on the model. These like pill-shaped ones, I really like those. So that's the thing, right? It's just not adding too many details because I know that my logos and things like that will be another sort of element to go on top, which will hopefully, be sort of pleasing to the eye. Another level of aesthetics. I think, like in general, that is okay, and that is it. See you in the next video.